Amigos, amigas, another edition of the Mexican Soccer Show. It is Monday, what we call Monday Night Football. Thank you so much for joining us. Although we're only a couple minutes late, we're just going to jump right in. We have a lot to talk about. First, we go into what we're going to be doing. We're going to talk to our expert for tonight, Mr. Tom Marshall, back now from traveling in Guadalajara now. How's it going, Tom? Are you ready? La final.
Yeah. Actually, just had an injection in my eye, so
what?
Wasn't the best.
What?
I got a little spot on the top of my eye, so I almost didn't make it tonight, but I pulled through.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had a doctor about an hour ago putting a bloody needle in my eye, and it wasn't nice, I can tell you. But I'm excited about the final. So,
oh my god, dude! I'm about to pass.
Great way to start the show. Just to get that.
That's what's going down.
Aside from Tom's needle in his eye.
I don't know where to go from this because like I hate needles. I hate needles so much, and I just had I just had blood work like done like what was it like last week, and I was like freaking out, and that was just on my arm. So Tom, I don't know how you were able to do with your eye.
I don't mind needles, but I don't like people messing with my eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of like I don't know. It's a bit like sensitive. You know what I mean? I don't like I got a real big problem with it, but I don't like it. And then you got a doctor there, bloody messing around with putting a needle in your eyelid.
Oh my god!
Not good. This.
We should just stop this. People are gonna leave. They're not gonna listen to this if we keep talking about needles and eyes.
Hey, I'm just saying it. You know, this is a lens where you go to come onto this show. You know what I mean? It's like doctor, inject me. I'm going in. You know what I mean? I've got sort my eye out. I'm going.
I'm sure,
and that's what I said to her.
Tom, there's a story there. Maradona used to do that with needles in his knees. Now he can't walk. Tom, he had to do a show. He's putting needles in his eyes. Somewhere in there, I'm thinking, get your editors in this.
Yeah.
All right, guys. As always, we start with the big question of the night. This is a question that is given to us by our producer, Amy, and we like to ask it. The reason I'm saying that today is because I wouldn't have picked this question because it's about, I don't know, me for winning the getting up there in the finals. It says, in our Liga Madness, who do you have winning the Liga Madness prediction bracket? Wiso or Adriana? And Adriana's not on today. So, guys, let me hear your at least your answers.
I mean, Adriana.
I'll say if we're going along with the theme of like the top Liga MX teams like thriving the playoffs and making it to final, then we have to go for like Adriana, right? If we're sticking with that thing, because she oh, you were the I thought Adriana was the number one seed.
There, I got you to say it.
No. If Wiesel's the number one seed, then I'm going with Wiesel.
I beat her at the end, like the last. I think I got 7 out of 8, so I beat her on the first.
All right, so I'm gonna go with Wiesel then.
Because of the I was out of a still gotten the I would have still gotten the. All right, cool. So you guys actually got time to see. What does everybody else say? I'm looking at the responses right now. We got. I think we got, not Wiesel. Soccer Never Sleeps says not Wiesel. So everyone's pulling for Adriana. I'll go ahead and pull for Adriana too. Screw it.
It's not how it's supposed to work.
It's
not how it's supposed to work.
Messi didn't vote for himself for the Balón de Oro, so I'm not gonna vote for myself and jinx myself. We got lots to talk about today. 2 finales that are coming down on the wire starting tomorrow. First one with the women's league. The secondary one, we'll be talking about that, and also the big final to one fan base, which is they're going to be looking at Cruz Azul versus America. That is coming up this weekend. Very, very exciting. Everybody's kind of getting ready for that. That DF is going to be amazing to be, especially when it comes to soccer. So we're going to jump right into that. And then after that, like I said, we'll talk a little bit about the women's final, just an update on the history of it. And a little Mexicans abroad update if we have some time. It all depends on the show. But we do have lots and lots to talk about. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. I think everybody wanted this final. Is there any, were you guys kind of like, no? And when we talk about Mexican soccer, when we talk about who deserves to be there, from the very beginning, Cruz Azul doing well during the season. All of a sudden now, has finally made it to that final. And America's also there. Is this, before we kind of keep going on, is this the final you guys wanted?
I mean, I think ideally it would be just attention-wise, it would be a Chivas America thing. But I think that after that, I mean, when you think back at the most exciting final in recent years, you think about what happened in 2013. You think about, I mean, just the way that everyone really makes fun of Cruz Azul and how they were the butt of every joke for quite some time, and how they've really made a push for investment. And I think considering all that, yeah, I think for me, this would be a strong number 2. So I think that
I would say Clásico. Yeah. Everybody wants a Clásico, and that's what you said. But I mean, kind of going into the Liguilla, knowing Chivas is where Chivas is at, right?
Oh yeah, knowing that, yeah, I think this was the final that I at least wanted, at least for attention, at least for excitement, because I'm genuinely like pretty thrilled about this final series. I can't really say the same for some of the I don't know, some of the playoff battles in the quarterfinals. Semifinals got a little bit better, but I think I'm finally like in hyped Liguilla mode looking at this final series.
Tom, to you, this is a dream final right now for Liga MX, not only on the commercial side, but also as a fan and maybe even as an analyst as you are.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can lose with this final. There's so many elements to it. Mm-hmm. You know, the Mexico City derby, you've got Cesar was saying the 2013 final, you know, Cruz Azul 21 years without a title. You know, Caixinha against Miguel Herrera. Ooh. You know, there's so many elements, both big spending teams. Both playing in the Estadio Azteca. It's going to be full both legs. So yeah, I think it's ideal. I mean, I also think that for Mexican football in general, for Liga MX, it's quite a big final. I feel like, you know, we saw MLS Cup with Atlanta and what they did. I think it made an impact, to be honest. We saw the Copa Libertadores, South America, and they messed it up. You know, they completely messed it up. You know, and I think now the Mexican game, this is the showcase now. You know, we've seen Argentina, we've seen MLS, and now, you know, America against Cruz Azul, both playing in the Azteca. This is a showcase for the Mexican game, and I really hope they put on, you know, a good spectacle. And I think they will as well. I think, you know, this is the advantage of the playoffs. We saw it in the semi-finals. I mean, there was some real excitement over those two, you know, series.
Yeah. And what's pretty cool too is some of those players from 2013 are still around, still playing, and still going to be taking part in the series. Paulo Aguilar, Corona, I think Cata, and then I looked up earlier, I think, and then Aldrete too. So it's kind of crazy that there's still that connection, even though it's 5 years ago. But of course, when everyone talks about this final, when they think about people who had a role in that one, they also think about Piojo and just his like crazy celebrations.
That's the reigning. I mean, everyone's looking at that. It's kind of funny. All right, before we talk about the final, before we go into, because we're going to talk a lot about it, let me just let's kind of go back. I wanted to get that excitement already that we were all there and talk about what happened over the week. You know, what happened to Rayados and Pumas. Let's talk about the Rayados. Rayados team that we knew is never really exciting. It did what it needed to do. It's surprising there in the first leg of the Liguilla, in the first part of it. But now coming up, no one really had them kind of going through, especially with Cruz Azul's side. But at least saying, for the season of Rayados that they had, were you content, even though they made it to a semifinal? Which is, I think, you give me Leon, I'll be like, give me the semifinal, I'll sign it for the next season. But specifically, what Rayados did, it kind of feels a little underwhelming for what they thought we had, especially with a player like Pizarro going in.
I mean, it's a difficult one. I mean, on paper, you can say Monterrey, with the amount of money they spent, they need to be reaching more than semi-finals. I mean, you can argument. Difficult season. I mean, all the way through, there's been so many injuries. It's been ridiculous. I mean, Pizarro, even when he's been playing, a lot of the time he's been playing with an injury. Gallardo as well, Cup, and then you had kind of Diego Alonso coming in, and really, you know, initially really make it a bit more possession based, and then basically coming to the realization that, you know, with these players, you know, Ávila Hurtado, Funes Mori, Pavon, you know, players that Funes Mori plays with his back to goal a lot. Pavon and Hurtado like to play off him, and I don't know, came to the realization that that's not the way. And I don't know, few times I've seen such a direct performance from a Liga MX team as that Monterrey team, especially in the second leg against Cruz Azul. I mean, it was, I wouldn't say it's long ball, but it wasn't. Pretty sure that's not how. I just think he was being very pragmatic. trying to get the result, and they weren't far off getting it. So I'd say it's just really difficult to kind of to say Rayados this season has been good or bad. I just think we're going to see next season. We're going to see in the transfer market what Alonso does, and I'm pretty sure we're going to see a gradual. I think this team's going to change quite a lot over the next kind of 12 months.
Yeah, and after the regular season that they had where they finished in 5th, I feel like this was kind of a deserved finish for them in the playoffs. And they were very close. I mean, I think that's something we do have to keep in mind. They were extremely, extremely close to making it to the final. I didn't predict them, after seeing what they did in the regular season, I didn't predict them as a side that was going to qualify for the final. So I think it's a semifinal finish probably isn't that surprising. And I guess probably how you depend or how you feel on that semifinal series likely depends on whether you support either team or if you support the current tiebreaker that they use in Liga MX. I mean, I think it's I think it's fair. I think you gotta have to reward those sides that finished as a higher seed. But I'm sure that there are probably some bitter Rayados fans out there knowing that they had a 1-1 aggregate series against them.
I think every team has gone through that some part. It's not like there's always, it's what happens. There's got to be a reward. I've been on the losing end on that, but then I've been on the winning side of that. So I think it is what it is. What I kind of don't like is that, as soon as Cruz Azul scored that 1-0, it didn't matter if it was 2-0. It's that when a team does that, there's got to be more, and they have to capitalize it. So I guess it's either or on either if it's good or bad. Specifically Cruz Azul, after that, they're back in the final. Going back now and looking at that game, did Cruz Azul impress you, or did they just do what they needed to do?
No, I think one thing that needs to be said really quickly about them is that they do need to improve. I think while America is, they're allowing a lot of goals too, but they're just that momentum from that 6-1 win that they had. It's just such a drastic difference from a Cruz Azul side who has a noteworthy attack, but they only have 2 goals in their last 3 games. Yeah, maybe a lot of that is due to the way that Monterrey played, that Alonso played in that semifinal series, but I just think when you look at the momentum, you look at the attacking momentum, you gotta back America a little bit more. Cruz Azul still have the talent to really bounce back and to find the back of the net, but I think if you're a Cruz Azul fan, you probably aren't that thrilled. Maybe you're obviously thrilled about making it to the final, but you still see room for progress in the attack, especially in the last 2 to 3 matches for them.
I agree, but I also think that we have to give Monterrey credit. Well, I think 2 things. First, especially in that first leg in Monterrey, that was by far the best performance that Rayados have given that season. Yeah. And to be honest, it could have been more than 1-0. They just played really well. And they kind of started to make sense. You look at players like Pizarro, who just ran the game. And you kind of like, wow, Monterrey is, you kind of forget the quality of players that they've got. But the other thing, I think stylistically as well, I think Monterrey, because they were also not really wanting a lot of possession, they were kind of, happier kind of not with the ball. And I think that affected Cruz Azul, because Cruz Azul is also that type of team. I think one of the teams with least possession per game in the regular season. And I think they like that. They like to hit on the transitions. They've got players to do that. And I think they struggle when they've got the ball. And we saw that against Monterrey. We saw them, having a dominated possession, but not really creating much and really struggling to get past Monterrey. So, I don't know. I think that was partly a clash of styles. And I think America is going to be a lot more open. And I think that's that's going to suit Cruz Azul quite a bit more. But yeah, I can't disagree with Cesar when he says, about the America winning 6-1. America now just for me out of nowhere. Maybe I've just been hiding in a shell or whatever, but they're unbeaten in 15 games now. They've lost 1 of the last 20 Liga MX games. Yep. That's remarkable. This is a team absolutely in form now. And I know we'll talk about America, but we got to give Miguel Herrera credit as well. I've not been his biggest fan, to be honest, but you said so. You saw him a lot in Tijuana, and he changed his formation. Right, he's doing it again now, and it's kind of working. And I thought that the changes he made before that second leg against Pumas. All right, Saldiva, the goalkeeper, gave away 2 goals in the first half, but you got to give credit to Herrera because he introduced an extra midfielder in Joe Corona. I thought they controlled the game a lot better, and put Ibarra and Linus right on the Pumas fullbacks, picking, I think, one of the weaknesses in the Pumas team, and they basically caused havoc. And obviously firing on all cylinders now coming into this final.
Yeah, I mean, Piojo got everything right in that. Like, I mean, because we saw like the 5-man back line for the first 3 games of playoffs. He went to that back 4, and it just, those changes to me. That was a big difference there. They got 6 goals there, and just incredible performance for almost everyone there in that starting 11 there, whether it be Jorge Sanchez on the left flank as a left back, Bal Aguilar as right back, and you mentioned Lainez and Ibarra, who were incredible for me too. But yeah, I think, yeah, as you mentioned, you do have to give credit to Piojo and what he's done, and also too, because I think early in the playoffs, like one thing that impressed me about America is that, yeah, they're able to find the back of the net, but they still had issues closing out those first few games. They still had issues. They were allowing some goals. And I mean, whatever worries that you had from those first 3 matches, the first couple against the Luca, the first one against Pumas, yeah, you had some issues about how they closed out the games, but the way that they closed out yesterday's was just, I mean, if you're an America fan, you probably feel really happy right now.
Yeah.
You know, we're already talking about, obviously, that game, America and Pumas, and where a lot of people are talking about is, yeah, I mean, you guys have mentioned it, Piojo, giving credit to Piojo in the games. And, you know, I was one of the ones that said, if we're going back to the beginning of the Liguilla, was that I was going to win this. And I still, not to get ahead of myself, I still think America is going to win this. And as much as I want Cruz Azul, and it's going to be horrible, but specifically, like, what happened to Pumas, you look at a rivalry, and I know that we talk about the Clásico. You know, especially for players, those rivalries back in, you know, the 70s and 80s, where we saw the Boca River type of rivalries with America and Pumas, and those where, you know, one of the reasons why Mexico became there was problems with fans and escorting and stuff like that was the rivalries in El DF between America and Pumas. And to say that is that what happened to Pumas is huge. It's drastic. It's like it's a huge rivalry between in that city. And not that saying that Patiño did, you know, deserves the criticism on that, but is anything really going to happen? And what needs to change, especially with Pumas? Yes, they did get to semifinals, but to lose in a semifinal at that big of a stage against one of your biggest rivals, if not the biggest, I would think Pumas' biggest rival is America. Maybe America's not the Chivas, but it's are we going to see anything that's going to happen? I'm not so sure about firing Patiño, but at least do you see that happening, Tom, with how big that loss was?
I mean, I don't think so, no, because, you know, he's taken them from basically a team that was right at the bottom of the league. And they basically, if you look at the net spend between then and now, it might even be the club have made money on signings because they sold Nico Castillo. And, you know, they've not brought in any massive names. So I think if you look at it from that point of view, Patiño's done really well. But yeah, I do agree with you that when you get battered like that against your biggest rival, it just hurts. I mean, I don't know, it's difficult because at the start of the season, I didn't fancy Pumas. All the way through the season, I didn't really like Pumas. And I'm tempted to say that this was going to happen at some point. That there's a deficit between the quality of individual players that Club America have and that Pumas have. And look, if you look at the goalkeeper, you've got Marchesín, Argentine international, does his thing. I mean, just a top goalkeeper. And then, you know, I've never been sold on Saldívar. I mean, I know he's had good game, but I've never been convinced by him. Well, and then you look at the
Saldívar is like the perfect embodiment of Pumas. It's just like, yeah, they've had like success every now and then, like throughout the season, and yeah, you've had like some highlight worthy moments, but ultimately, like Pumas, he's just unreliable and inconsistent. And like I said, it was something bad was bound to happen.
I really fault them on 3 goals of that. Now the other ones, at least the beginning ones, like I you know, and obviously it's, you know, that there's a defense. And again, I'm with you on the fact that we didn't really expect for Pumas. I feel that's how Pumas has always been since I remember, like late Pumas. It's Pumas gets far somewhere and it's like, eh.
But yeah, but I think that they really did. I mean, they self-imploded like terribly. And I don't know, as someone who watched Malcora play over here in Tijuana, I don't know if he's played before as a left back for Pumas, but it looks like that was the position he was playing, and he doesn't have that good of defensive qualities. Saldívar was awful. At the end, you saw there like Mosso getting a red. So, I mean, there was just a lot of things where just Pumas just really, really self-imploded. You just really questioned some of the stuff that was happening in the game for them.
Like
that,
calm down, bro. This is your fellow Mexican youngster. What are you doing? You know, for him, obviously that's where the young, right? That's how young you can be, and you get in the final and you're frustrated. And this is what young players need to go out there. But I was kind of like, are you serious? Like, this is what you're doing. Awesome to see him also at that level too, though. Like the talent that the guy has too. So, and credit to Patiño on that.
Yeah, but at some point, Pumas are gonna. Don't know. They've got to. I just think this season might be a one-off. I don't know if they don't invest in players, if they don't have young players coming through, and I mean they have got a couple like Muscle, like we said. Then I don't know where the next. I don't know how Pumas are gonna consistently challenge. I mean, you might be able to get this odd season like this season where where they do challenge, and I honestly think they challenge because the style of play was so. I mean, it was again a very, very direct team. I mean, playing it up to Carlos Gonzalez, who for me, one of the players of the seasons. I think he should be in the conversation because not necessarily because of his goals or his assists or whatever, but he was so focal to everything that Pumas have done all season. I mean, you take him out of the team and they've really struggled. I think anyway. So yeah, but at the end of the day, Pumas have got I don't know. I mean, it's the age-old rumor that there's no money there. There's no money at Pumas. That's the issue. And I think unless they can find some, then I think they might struggle. I mean, I think this might. I don't want to say a high point because they just lost 6-1. I think they might struggle to regularly make semi-finals. Whereas I think if you look at someone like Monterrey, who also lost, I'd be absolutely not one bit surprised if Monterrey are in the Clausura final. I mean, it just wouldn't surprise me at all. It wouldn't surprise me if Cruz Azul are in there, America makes it, Tigres make it. Team that that are gonna spend money, they're gonna continue to improve. Whereas with Pumas, I get the impression that if somebody comes in for Carlos Gonzalez with a good bid, then they might sell him. Yeah. I mean, I just think that's where Pumas are as a club right now. And I think they kind of got around it this season because of the style of play, and I think other teams couldn't deal with them because in the Mexican League, I don't think teams are used to such a direct style. And so but moving forward, I'm not sure what they've got in the locker room.
Yeah, they did really well away from home for whatever reason. I mean, obviously not yesterday, but during the regular season, they were just like killing it away from home. So
city.
What was that?
I said away from their city.
Yeah, away from the city. Yeah, but I think for somebody, maybe that caught teams a little off guard that they showed up these away games a little bit more direct too. But yeah, I don't know. Just once again, just a completely inconsistent, honestly unreliable side.
The dream final that we have many people from the beginning of the Liguilla, everybody have wanted, especially now that we talked about Cruz Azul, what they've done throughout the whole season, the history of the club. I think there was even some players that have never seen Cruz Azul that are part of the Cruz Azul team that were like tweeting saying, I've never seen a Cruz Azul in a final and I'm part of this organization. It's huge, the fact that they're in there. But so let's kind of segue into that final. One of the things that when I was listening to Piojo yesterday after one of the conferences, one of the things that he said is he was very confident that his players have already been at this level. And they already know what they need to do, and expectations to win. Which, for Piojo to say that, it's great. I think they were just sound bites, but the players that are there, it's true. Go ahead.
No, I think that message is meant for Cruz Azul.
Yeah, of course.
And it was really interesting. Paul Aguilar as well after the game yesterday. It was brilliant. I loved the comment, and I think this is going to be one of the things. This is one of the things that's going to be so great about this final. There's going to be things thrown out there, things said. I think Caixin is definitely going to wind up Piojo. He's going to try his best. I don't know how he's going to do it. He might do it by being really nice, overly nice, or he might do it by just calling him name. I don't know. But both Caixinha and Herrera have got it in him to really, really make this kind of, I don't know, just a crazy, crazy build up to the final. But Paulo Aguilar was just saying, it was a great quote. He was like, you guys in the media have been talking all season about Cruz Azul. Every story, Cruz Azul, headlines, front pages. It's amazing. Pelais, Caixinha, what all the changes that they've done. And, he said basically the pressure's all on them. They're this team that spent the money, that's been there all season, top of the league. Bring it, you know what I mean? and it just plays into the Cruz Azuliar. You know, the notion that Cruz Azul are destined to win it, but are going to mess it up at some point. And it's just really interesting, and it will be interesting to see how much Club America, the players, the manager feed into that more, just psychologically sowing seeds of kind of failure for Cruz Azul. And, you know, basically saying for us, it doesn't matter. You know, we've won the title recently, you know, whatever. You know, we don't necessarily need to win this title right now. I mean, obviously, America fans won't agree, but Cruz Azul, you've not been to a final for 5 years. You've lost the last 5 finals you've been in. You know, you're playing the Azteca next Sunday, which is our house. You know, bring it. Like, what have you got, basically?
I was thinking about that earlier today. I was just like, yeah, what? Because in theory, like, if you were to ask someone really quickly, like who, like, where is there more pressure on? Is it on Cruz or America? And I think a jerk reaction would be like, no, just like a knee-jerk reaction would just be like, oh, it's America. But then I guess just the more you think about it, it's like, no, it 100% is on Cruz Azul. 100% it's more pressure on this Cruz Azul side. I was just thinking about that. I'm glad you brought that because I was thinking about that earlier today. I don't know if you guys both agree that that more pressure is on Cruz Azul.
It's kind of how I go back and forth on it, because automatically for me it's Cruz Azul because of the Cruz Azulada, right? Because of the history right now. If it's another final lost, you know, it's like, you know, it's we're not even fans, you know. And I look at that first aspect. I'm kind of on the other side with opposite of you, Cesar. But then I look at America, I look at Piojo, I look at the final and what they have done this season, and especially the players that they have. If they lose against this Cruz Azul in the DF, the way that, you know, Cruz Azul is taking over the DF, like, it's also a huge loss for America. As much as they don't want to be a pressure, you don't want to be the team that finally let Cruz Azul win a title, you know, and it's the Clásico Joven. So as much as I think outside of the fans, we're all going to keep making fun of Cruz Azul, I get it. But for those America fans that say, the pressure is on them, no, it's America too. So that's what I love about this final, is that we haven't seen something like that in a long time.
Yeah, but you know, I think Cruz Azul, it's almost like everything's built up to this moment. It's almost like the perfect game for him to do it as well.
Yeah.
Because it's Club America. It's the team that, you know, and I was looking back at the 2013 final, and you kind of forget the details about that game.
I was watching the last 10 minutes.
But like, Jesus Molina was sent off in the 12th minute. So America played with 10 players for pretty much the whole of that game. You know, they were 2-0 down in the 87th. I mean, I know everybody knows the story, but, you know, it just gave me a reminder going back to it. And it's like, this is the 87th minute. The 87th minute, you're 2-0 up on aggregate. All you have to do is see it through, and then to lose it in that way. I mean, it just. This is the thing for me about this final as well. It's like Cruz Azul against America. We can talk about it tactically. We can talk about Cruz Azul won the regular, more in form. Can Cruz Azul beat America? Of course they can. You know, absolutely no doubt about it. They're a very good team. They've shown it all season. I think they've only lost 3 games or 4 games with the one against Monterrey. But can they see it out? Where did all the psychological baggage, does that fit in? I mean, I think that I like what Caixinha have done. I like what the players have done. It's almost like they want to. It's almost like they're taking the you know, they're trying to smash through this wall, and they're enjoying the challenge. You know, they're enjoying people saying, Cruz Azul destined to fail. And they're like, well, you know what? We're going to show them. Like, it feels like that. That's the mentality. That's what they're trying to kind of promote. But it's one thing to talk about it before. It's another thing, you know, if there's 10 minutes left and Cruz Azul, it's a draw, or Cruz Azul are winning by a goal, does that filter through? You know, at that point, does it filter through those little bits of nerves? I don't know.
Are we saying that
the other go on?
Are we saying that Cruz Azul getting a title, is that their quinto partido?
Pretty much, yeah. That's a good one, yeah.
You know, funny you mentioned that, Cesar, because I was driving and I was listening. I put the last 10 minutes of it, you know, of the match, and I'm watching it when I was driving. There was a lot of traffic, and
that's supposed to be watching TV and driving.
What are you doing, man? Yeah, that's illegal.
Well, the laws in Arizona, they've got no laws in that state.
And it's funny you said,
apart from needing a passport to get into bars. Remember when I got rejected because I didn't have a passport?
Like, oh my God. Went into a bar and they wouldn't let him in because he was foreign.
I think that was like 2014 or 15. I think that was a few years ago. How are we getting old? Oh my god.
That was I think that was like 2015. Anyway,
Yeah.
back when now I lost my train of thought. Okay, no. You said the quinto partido, Cesar, and it's funny because in my head I was like, man, this is how it's so high. Like, you have to win a title if you're a Cruz Azul fan in order for you to say it was a successful season. And I look at that for us as our quinto partido, or a team like Argentina or Germany, you have to win the World Cup, and you're doing that, and that's where that pressure comes about. But I want to ask you guys. We said I think both teams have the opportunity to do it. Defensively, Cruz Azul is the best defense against the best offense. By the way, how many goals? I think it's going on a record, right? As far as how many goals America is scoring in one season. I was trying to look up a stat, but there's a lot, and especially how many people are.
I guess those 6 goals really help, don't they? I have no idea, but yeah.
Let's look at that, especially because when we're looking at that. But when you look at this tactically, we've seen both teams struggle at a point where you have to come in and not play like that. Both teams at their best, I can't tell you one team is better than the other. And it's been, and I've thought about this in a long time because I think America is going to win just as far as, but when I look at it, I can definitely see both teams. If they both play at their top, I really can't, if I had to pick one, I can't do it.
I'm really, if we're talking tactics, what I'm really fascinated by is what we're going to see in their defenses and like basically how they line up, because with Cruz Azul, I mean, you saw Aldrete, Cata, Pablo Aguilar, they seem to be guaranteed starters there. But in the last game, Madueña was benched and they brought on Lichnowsky. I don't know if that was a tactical thing. I don't know if there was some issues there for Madueña. Maybe he wasn't like fit to start. But I was wondering if that's something we're going to potentially see in this next 2 matches, because obviously someone like Madueña isn't nearly as good as someone like I think Gata took a spot as a right back there defensively. So I wonder, are we going to see something like that from them, or America? Are we going to see a 4-man back line again? Are we going to see a 5-man back line? And obviously in America, you have those center backs who could really do well aerially and who could also help them in the attack. So I think that, to me, that's what I'm most fascinated by, whether America is going to go with a 4-man or a 5-man backline, and what Cruz Azul's backline is going to look like as well. Because I think there are a few names that we know are going to be given the start there, but is Madueña going to be on the bench? Is Lichnowsky going to be given a start? So I think that's what's most fascinating to me is the backline from both sides.
Yeah, I think when we see the starting 11 for Cruz Azul, we're going to get a real insight into Caixinha's mentality going into the first game. I think, there's this, Cata Dominguez, do you play him at the right back who basically doesn't cross the halfway line, or do you go Madueña who can overlap? I think in central midfield, do you go Salas or do you go Baca? And I think and up front as well, Caraglio or Cauteruccio. You know what I mean? I think those are the issues basically for Caixinha, and I think what we see in those decisions is gonna tell us what he wants to do with that first game. There's no away goals, so we'll see. And it's interesting because they're both playing in the same stadium. So, but yeah, I mean, I think Caixinha is going to tend to be cautious, knowing that Club America were rampant against Pumas. They've got a lot of players in kind of goal scoring form now, and Roger Martinez getting a goal. The Club America bench as well is pretty superb. So yeah, I mean, I think that. Yeah, I think it's. I don't know. I don't think there's much between the teams. I think that. I think it's going to be absolutely great series, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, and regardless of the rivalry, too, I think what's going to be awesome about this series too is just the talent they're going to see everywhere and both the rosters. When you look at whether it be the defense, whether it be the midfield or the attack, and just like there's just a long line of just like very, very talented options that both teams could utilize. They both have decent benches, so I think that's something that I'm really, really looking forward to as well. Yeah. And also, yeah, go ahead, Tom.
Go.
And also, I don't know if it's just me, but is Marchesín just looking a little bit more like fiery or something? I don't know if that's just me or something. He's gotten like a couple yellows so far in the playoffs. I don't know. I feel like if there's someone who might get a red, it might be him. I don't know. I'm just putting that out there. It might be a little weird, but just like he's just looked a little bit more fiery than usual to me. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he is a Nahuel Guzman
that guy's a weird
this final series.
He's like I wouldn't. I guess I think I feel like he's like really has like a weird temper. Like he's what he does in the goals,
yeah,
and like he's
one of
just
those
a different type of person.
Yeah, one of those typical goalkeepers who's slightly. I mean, that's the reputation of goalkeepers. Know that they're slightly got to screw slightly loose up there. You know, which sometimes you have to as a goalkeeper because you have to dive in there. You have to be a little bit.
Yeah, goalkeepers are weird. We all know there's weird goalkeepers. They're all weird.
But yeah, but I mean, the same thing there. Cesar, what you were saying about Cruz Azul, you know, America. I mean, does Piojo stick with Joe Corona?
Yeah.
You know, does he drop Peralta again? You know, is Edson Alvarez going to be back? Because if you don't have Edson Alvarez, then I think it's difficult to play a back three as well. And so these are factors as well that'll be playing into the Club America side with Piojo. And I'm sure Caixinha will be kind of trying to read what Herrera's trying to do, and Herrera will be looking at what Caixinha want to do. I mean, personally, I'd say that's an advantage for Cruz Azul because I think Caixinha is a better tactician. You know, I think he's a better overall coach than Herrera, but you know, Herrera's definitely he's done what he always does, and he's got the players completely on side, completely buying into how he wants to play, and they always look like they're enjoying themselves. And I think that's the absolute key for Herrera. And we can talk all day about, you know, managers who kind of sit the players down and make them watch videos and the absolute details about the game. But there's a lot to be said for a manager who actually can relate to a player and chat to a player, make a player feel happy and you know, at ease, and go out there and perform to the level he can. But yeah, we'll see.
I'm just kind of laughing at the idea of just Piojo like in a theater, just like watching film, like bring the players over and be like, no, look what he's doing right there, just like just watching hours.
Before we move on to our next segment, I want to ask you guys.
Wait, go ahead. Thing about Cruz Azul. Just another, I think, what's another positive, or you know, if you're a Cruz Azul fan, I think what I like about this Cruz Azul team is the spine. You know, you go down, and I know it's kind of maybe a cliche that people talk about the spine of the team, and you know that kind of determining. I think there's a phrase that they use in Spain. You know, you're only as good as the spine of your team, if you know what I mean. And you know, players like Roberto Alvarado, players like Elias Hernandez, I feel like they've got a lot of headlines this season, and you know, in a lot of ways, rightly so, because they've been very good. But if you look at down that spine of the team, Jesus Corona, absolutely solid. Pablo Aguilar, I mean, he's just an absolute rock in central defense. Marcone,
yeah.
I mean,
Marcone.
is that the signing of the season? I mean, the way he's just you know, the way he's come in and, you know, 20 years old, such an experienced figure. I mean, he's been brilliant. And then Caraglio, when he's played, I'd add that. And if you go down that spine of the team, and I think in that series against Monterrey as well, you saw Caraglio miss the penalty. And I think that was a key moment, because I think Cruz Azul at other points would have folded. You know, kind of been drained psychologically. And I think you look at those kind of players, the likes of Aguilar, the likes of Marcone, the likes of Caraglio himself, and Jesus Corona. And I think I just feel like there's more steel, not just in terms of playing, but in terms of, you know, they're not going to let things affect them. At least that's the impression I get. But obviously, you know, we'll see in the final. But I think it's quite an important point to make.
Yeah, I think we talked about all that about Cruz Azul, especially having the coaches, having the platform, having the fans, having the players, and it was always that weird folding. And I still have to think that final that was won earlier in the year also has helped them a lot psychologically, and in knowing that the players that can do it and they're there. So it'll be interesting for sure. Again, one of the most hype finals I think that we have seen, especially in Liga MX. Tigres is not in the final, Cesar. You know,
I definitely thought they were going to be there. I was 100% wrong.
Monterrey team's not in the final, and you have Cruz Azul finally that's there, and again against a team. It's like the team that they probably didn't want to face in the final is there too, with the history of it. So should be a lot of fun. Before we go and we get on the next segment, what happens? What is your prediction?
Madness happens.
Do we see penales? We see a crazy. I mean, is this going to be? Oh, let me ask you a question. Number one, is this going to be as crazy as everybody else as everyone's thinks. Like this is going to be a match where it's going to be, maybe we're putting up to the level of 2013, but is that what we're getting ourselves into when we're looking at this final?
I don't know about crazy. I just think it's going to be a really good game. I mean, I think the whole series is just really set up. They're very even. They're both so much at stake. The city rivals. I mean, there's just so many. Like I said at the start, there's so many elements to this game that I can't see. I think it's just going to be exciting. I mean, I can't see it kind of being dull. You know what I mean? And you look at the managers as well. There's just no way that Caixinha against Piojo is going to be dull. So yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to it, and I think I'm gonna go Cruz Azul just about. To be honest, I'm gonna say they break the duck and they do it. I think on paper America are favourites, but I'm going Cruz Azul. I think Caixinha's got a little bit more than Piojo tactically, and I think America have been very, very good, but they've also showed moments of weakness. I think they showed that in the first leg against Pumas, kind of got away with it to a degree, and I think they showed that against Toluca as well. I think there was weakness in America as well, and I think Cruz Azul have got the patience and they've got the style of play to exploit that, whereas the other clubs so far this league haven't with Club America.
Yeah, I still don't know what to make of the series. There's a part of me that wants Cruz Azul to do well just to finally get rid of that whole like the Cruz Azul, blah 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 blah, and they can just like forever
end. That's the thing about the final. It's weird because I know it's Club America and I know it's a massive club, but it's actually this final is all about Cruz Azul.
It is.
If you put America against Tigres, it's like it's going to be a great final, but it's Cruz Azul. It's all about Cruz Azul. This final, can they do it?
Yeah, maybe I'm biased too, just because our buddy Jason's a big Cruz Azul fan, and I want him to like feel happy. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I'm rooting for Cruz Azul in this one.
I want Cruz Azul to win. I'll say it. I've been wanting them to win, especially the Cruz Azuleada. It's just the afición. My dad was a huge Cruz Azul fan when they were in Pachuca. Back in the days, I mean, he used to talk about Pablo Larios and as a goalkeeper. And in fact, I have this, those ugly big cobijas that you get that every Mexican has. That's really.
Oh, dude, you're gonna need it in like at least 2 weeks or something. So
I have that. I have one of those, but it's a Cruz Azul one that he gave to me, and I'm like, all right, cool, I'll stuff it in. And we always use it during the winter. And even though it's Cruz Azul, people have lions or they have, whatever. But it's funny. I want Cruz Azul to win. I'll be cheering for Cruz Azul. But again, I'm thinking, I think America is just, this is a team with the firepower that it has, and not because of the psychology. I just think that they're going to score more goals, and I think ultimately that's what wins, right? As we see it. So I'm gonna go with America winning. But I want Cruz Azul to win. So fans,
you're saying you want so America's gonna win, but you'll be watching the game with your Cruz Azul blanket.
I will.
Basically guarantees that America win.
And can we probably put that to rest, right? Like no more making fun of putting Cruz Azul. I mean, I think Amy and I were looking at that when we were playing against Korea in the World Cup, and we were like, "Oh, Cruz Azul, put it on!" And we took a picture of it. I mean, that's gonna be gone. Like that joke isn't there. It's fun. It's fun. All right, so
but the other element as well, I think we need to point out is it's absolutely great to see Diego Lainez starting games and Roberto Alvarado starting games on the other side because these are the games. These are the games that you cut your teeth in. There's no hiding. 70,000+ in the Azteca. I mean. Sometimes we talk a lot about players going to Europe, but there aren't many games that live up to this in terms of the intensity and in terms of the expectation, the pressure. I mean, for young Mexican players like those two, I mean, these are really, really big events, and I'm absolutely fascinated to see if both of them can really. I mean, I don't know. I'm just excited to see Lainez step out onto that field, see what he can do in the Azteca, and just imagine him scoring a wonder goal or something. I mean, it'd just be amazing, wouldn't it?
And who knows? Maybe even Jorge Sanchez too. I think that he's impressed recently as well. So maybe he'll even do well for America as well. Just like being on that same flank as Lainez and providing some good distribution going forward. So I think that's another young Mexican to be keeping an eye on right there, because now it seems quite nice that we're having some more options there at fullback for the national team. At least a lot of young options there. So that's another young player that I think we should be young Mexican player we should be keeping an eye on.
Yeah, I think if he would have been playing first team, if he would have been playing earlier in the first team, I think he would have been in the national team with Osorio. Osorio was a fan. I mean, you can see why, because he's a massive guy as well. But he's also very good going forward. Like as we've seen in that goal the other day, no, he's very, technically he's very good. He's an exciting player as well, no doubt.
Diego Lainez scores in the 90th minute with America to win. It'd be huge. We all on the world, we have that.
Then announces his signing for Real Madrid.
All right, guys. Let's switch over. So wait, Cesar has Cruz Azul. Tom?
Yeah, I'll go Cruz Azul.
Cruz Azul.
Okay, I'm the only one with America. All right, guys. As you can see, Amy just joined. We have that. How you doing, Amy? Really quick, your prediction: Cruz Azul and America.
Can't hear you, Amy.
You are on mute. Hello. Nope, you're muted again.
Do you know? There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Fantastic.
How's it going, Amy?
Good. I'm fine. How are you, Tom?
Not bad, yeah. Keeping.
Can you give me a prediction, Amy?
Just podcast.
Say about my injection in my eye.
Cruz Azul or America? Can you guys hear me? Can Amy not hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I think we're fine. I think we're all okay.
All right, but you're not answering my Cruz Azul or America question.
Oh, I was giving myself time to ponder.
Oh. All right, well, let us know as soon as we get it. All right, why don't we have Amy on? We have not only is our Liguilla Madness, which we are obviously it's me versus Adriana. At the end, the 1 versus the 2. We'll see what happens there. But I kind of already told Adriana I'm going to go for America. I'm going to pick America. So maybe I'm using that as psychological so I can play with her. I'm being Caixinha to her Piojo. And the pressure's on her because she's did amazing the whole year. And then I beat her towards the end. So, but we do have a special show next week here with the Mexican Soccer Show. And I want to let Amy kind of talk about it. She's been really working on it. So all of you guys that are listening and all of you guys listening on iTunes, you have to tune in next week because we have a special show. Not only will we be talking about the final, but we have something that's going to be a lot of fun for the last 30 minutes or even more. We might go an hour. We might go 2 hours. Who knows? It's going to be a lot of fun. But Amy, what's our big news and what's going to happen next week that you want to tell all of us?
Well, the fabulous people on our production team have been planning this for weeks. Who is the production team, you may ask? Just me and me. But anyway, it's going to be like 90 minutes. Hopefully we can make it. Not 2 hours. Nobody wants. You've seen Oscars before. Nobody wants to see the award shows that long.
So it'll be like a first half and a second half.
Yeah, essentially. So we're going to
Do we get a break at half time or no?
Guys, please.
Right.
So it's going to be our 2018 Mexican Soccer Show, and Cesar coined this. Yeah, was it Cesar? Who was it that coined this?
Oh, yeah, it was this guy over here.
It was Cesar. It's the Andres Awardados. So we're going to go ahead and have an award show for our last show of 2018. So I'll actually tweet it out right after the show ends. It's basically a little survey that you guys are going to fill out, and I like chaos, so you guys get to fill in whatever answers you want, and I get to go through everybody's answers, and then we'll choose the winners that way.
You did not just say that. I could just totally see people start putting on like the most random people. There used to be these types of like surveys and stuff back in the early interwebs. I think Mr. Jolie's on right now. And anytime anybody had any type of service, we specifically went on there to make sure that people didn't win like who's not supposed to. So I can just definitely see. But Amy, so it's a survey that says, for example, tell us what some of the categories, and we kind of fill it in.
So some of the categories, I'll give you the fun ones, so that way you guys don't ruin the other ones. Some of the fun ones are best Liga MX fan account. So that could be anywhere from the Eagle Eye podcast, some of the other cool English language podcasts that have been out. So you guys can.
That's H Football. That guy's pretty cool. I like that guy.
Can we vote for ourselves?
Are you a fan account?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
So like
fill in, so you could answer whatever you want technically.
So you could technically have like a campaign on Twitter and have many people vote for you.
Oh yeah.
Essentially, yes. If you would like to be.
No. Like not me. I'm just saying, like if you're out there, I'm thinking of like our friend Eldan the Man. He's always out there. Or yeah. This is gonna be fun. First friend. So guys, let me know. DM me on if I'll vote for whoever has, whoever adds me most. And my vote's for sale.
Whoever gives me $80.
What other cool questions, or how do people go and vote, Amy?
So did you not hear me at the beginning? It's fine. It's fine. I will be tweeting something out at the end of the show with the link so that you can go ahead and fill in your responses.
Go ahead. Just wanted you guys to repeat it.
So you guys can go ahead and fill it out at the end of the show. It'll come from the Mexican Soccer Show Twitter account. So just go ahead and please answer like real answers, please. Now that I just realized that I just gave that open window, answer honestly. So we'll have, okay, I'll give you a real one that we're going to have. We're going to have, young Mexican player of the year. So anything from the U20, anybody U20 who you think is, has been like the, a good player of the year, Liga MX coach of the year, things like that. We're going to have really cool answers. I think it's 15 questions that you have to answer. So, but your votes matter because then whoever you guys decide is whoever gives the most answers, obviously is going to be the winner. So it should be fun. I look forward to going through all your answers. So just wait for the link and go ahead and put in your answers.
Awesome. Cool. So we'll be talking about the final. What happens? Is it Cruz Azul or America? And then we're going to jump in to this award show and inviting all of you guys. Bring a friend, get them, bring them to YouTube. Maybe you have like a little watch party. I don't know. Go crazy with it. We're Cesar's gonna wear a tux. So
I 100% am gonna do a suit, not a tux. I don't own a tux.
I'll go.
I haven't rented a tux since prom.
You have an IPA and stuff.
Oh, I will have a few drinks with me as well. It's gonna be great. We're gonna be celebrating.
It's mandatory.
Yeah.
Like, after every show, you have to take a drink.
That sounds dangerous. I'm not sure about this anymore.
At the end of the show, we'll have that. Let's go crazy. All right. Thank you so much, Amy. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Anything else regarding the show? Anything else that we should be aware of? Or I know you said it was like black tie was a must. You said
we had amendments during the meeting. I said you could either wear a black tie suit or you could put on a Santa Claus hat. So
just a black tie. Just shirtless with a black tie. Got it. Okay, cool. Adriana, Amy, everyone's gonna be a part of it, so it should be a lot of fun. We're going to switch really quick, and we're going to talk about the other final. And Amy, I was wondering if you can also stay with us. I know that you are an expert of what's happening here with the women's final with his Tigres and America. History is going to be made. Is it going to be a bicampeón, which is going to be Tigres, or is it finally getting America, an institution that has invested a lot, what I would say, with as far as infrastructure, as far as the attentions that we see. It's going to be Leonardo Cuellar's team, the trophy, but ultimately it's definitely going to be a historic final. I know America's not only are they wanting to win this game to have the first game, the first trophy for the women's side, they also want to win something that Tigres had last year, which was the record for attendance. I think it was around 51,000 people that broke the record for a game on that caliber. And one of the things that they're posting all over social media, and I've seen it, people from Mexico are talking about it, is the attendance at the Aztecas on that very first leg. And they want to break that record too. So not only that's fun about it. Not only is it football, between the two rivalries, they want to make sure that they're the number one team when it comes to attendance. They're opening up the Azteca. It's going to be free for everybody. And the ida is this Tuesday, and La Vuelta is on Saturday. Amy, what can you tell us about this game, especially for those that don't see it? We know that it's kind of hard looking at the games in the States, but how can we watch it, and ultimately how can we support?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit on the Our Football podcast earlier. I spoke with Sandra. That was a really good discussion. Basically, America, in terms of attendance, has it's only one more day technically, or they only have so much more time left because they basically have their work cut out for them because Estadio Universitario is already my kid is
someone's smashing up your house.
No, that's my kid. That's what happens when you have children. But yeah,
QN. Go ahead.
I feel like that. I feel like that guy that he like his kid in the
what I saw.
No, but yeah, I mean, Tigres already completely sold out the second leg, so America has a work cut out for them because, yeah, the game is free and everything, but there's some issues because it's like a Tuesday afternoon. I think the game is the game's
4
at 4
p.m. local time.
Yeah, 4 p.m. local time. So, I mean, it's hopefully one of the positives is that obviously the men's side is in the final and then the women's side is in the final. So hopefully that, that sort of momentum gets everybody hyped and they want to go see the game, one, if they can, and two, if they don't have like any work conflicts or anything like that. So, I mean, that in and of itself should be really good to see who actually attends the match on Tuesday. But yeah, it's basically, from my opinion and what Sandra and I were talking about on the podcast, it's basically Tigres to lose because Tigres has just been completely dominated the whole season. They're undefeated.
Throw money at it as well, aren't they? You look at the players that they brought in, like, from abroad and brought back and stuff, and it's like, I don't know, it's pretty scary, how good they are.
No, yeah, I mean they won 4-2 against Chivas. America barely made it through with Lucero Cuevas scoring, during the semifinals. So, I mean, Tigres is going to be really, really tough to beat. I kind of want it to be like a happy ending in terms of women's soccer for everybody. So I hope to see, America winning the Estadio Azteca. That'd be really cool just to see. But I think Tigres is going to be really tough to beat. I don't think it's going to be an easy thing for America to do. I know Leonardo Cuella, who obviously is the women's Mexican national team former coach, he probably has some, with it being the first final they've ever got into and just, for glory to be able to win it would be huge for him. But I don't know. I think it's Tigres. To lose. They have Elizabeth Ovalle, Greta Espinosa, who are national team players. They have a really, really solid team, and they've invested heavily with this team. So, I mean, hopefully we just see a good game, just like we're talking about with America Cruz Azul. Hopefully we just see two exciting legs, and, we'll see who wins. I think it's Tigres to win, though, to be honest. If I have to make a prediction right now, I think it's Tigres to win.
Yeah, and I'm hoping we continue to see that excitement regarding women's soccer in Mexico. I mean, especially since, it was a, dark period not too long ago when we saw that Mexico didn't qualify for the Women's World Cup. But recently we've seen, all the excitement regarding the U17 run where the women's side went and finished in second place. So, I mean, that was still fresh in minds of Mexican soccer fans. So I think hopefully a good series here between Tigres and Club America will kind of continue to continue that hype regarding women's soccer, because I think right now the last regardless of the fact that Mexico didn't qualify for the Women's World Cup for next year, I think the last few weeks have been fairly positive, and hopefully that will continue. Hopefully we do see a lot of fans showing up to the game. At the very least, we'll see a lot showing up to watch Tigres at home, because that game's already sold out.
Yeah, I think we have to mention how good Tigres have been as an institution in terms of the women's side as well. I mean, not just the institution, but the fans as well. I mean, for me, they've sold this game, the final, out over a week before. It's not like, gradually people are buying tickets, turning up on the day. I mean, Tigres fans are genuinely excited and they're desperate to see the women's team do well as well. And it's, that's amazing to see. And I think it's almost an example to other clubs, you know what I mean? And, it shows the extent of the Tigres fan base's passion for the club, to be honest. So yeah, and the way they actually spent money on the team as well.
Yeah, the only downside, at least from us in the U.S., is that, and we talked about it on the podcast too, it's so hard to watch the games. I watch the semifinal matches through streams, like through Facebook. And Tigres does, again, giving credit to Tigres, again, they do stream on all their social media platforms. So, you could probably watch that second leg through Twitter or Facebook of some sort. But for the rest of the season, it was really hard to try to get a match. But I think, again, credit to Tigres for what they're doing in terms of trying to gain exposure for the women's side with that.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, how could we watch, Amy? So definitely be on the lookout if you see any streams or anything like that. We'll tweet it out and we'll retweet it to make sure that we're watching. That's one of the, it's also hard for people in the United States to kind of look at that and not only tune in, but even wanting to, and then we see that. So we'll definitely let everybody know on that is. So for you, Tigres wins. I'm just gonna stick to America just to see both of the sides winning. If I'm gonna do that,
Dang, double championship.
double championship. The women's and the men's, the Águilas, it's going to be a great year, I would go, even though I'm not an Americanista, for those of you guys that know, so just FYI. We'll do that. Cool. All right, guys, I know we're going to the hour. Amy, I know that if you have to get off or finish the show with us, it'd be great. But really quick, Chicharito now score. Is he back, Cesar?
Who knows? I mean, Arnautovic is. I know he's had some injury problems, so I think that's helping him out a little bit. I don't know if Andy Carroll is 100% fit either, but either way, I mean, it's good to see Chicharito scoring two goals earlier last week, and he scored another goal over the weekend for West Ham. So that's obviously good news for him going forward. And but I guess the big question is, I mean, is he really going to stick around with West Ham after this season? I still don't know if that's 100% what he's aiming for. Maybe that's not what's best for him in his career. Maybe once Arnautovic is back to full form, Chicharito will go to the bench again. But at the very least, in the short term, it's very, very good to be seeing Chicharito scoring for West Ham. Good
to see that. Salcedo back now from injury and playing. Champions League playing for obviously the Porto guys in PSV. So Mexicans abroad, and are we doing that? And then ultimately the Club World Cup. What? This is happening still? Chivas has arrived. It's given a royal treatment there at the airport. A lot of things are happening with Chivas. It's like, whatever's happening. Can fans really just get excited for that, especially Chivas fans? I guess knowing that America's in the final and Cruz Azul is in the final and no one's talking about Chivas except for how horrible the bat. Yeah, they're still going to the Club World Cup. But what do you expect, Tom, really quick? You're in Guadalajara. I mean, is anybody even hyped for this? Are we looking at that? Even if it was a good team, people kind of give bad credit of what Club World Cup does.
Yep. I think if you're looking for a positive, it's that there's not much expectation, and sometimes in previous years there has been expectation about the Mexican team going in there, And I think that we've been talking about, can they do it? Can they do it? Can they get past a CONMEBOL team? Can they get past a UEFA team? And this time around, it's like, let's see how they do against Kashima Antlers first. You know what I mean? I don't think there's much expectations surrounding Chivas.
But even if they lose, they go to the 5th place game, right? I don't know who they would even play the 5th place game.
Yeah. Like usually we know that there's these types of players that the Mexican club is playing against. Anybody know anything about the team that we're about to face? I say we.
No.
I'm
not looking at it yet. But I mean, I think the interesting thing with Chivas at the minute is they've just signed, Iran Mier, they've signed Alexis Vega, and someone else, no? Oh, no.
Villalpando.
So this club that apparently had no money has actually gone out and spent quite a lot of money over the last, on 3 players. So I guess for me, the question, obviously, the Club World Cup's interesting, but Chivas in position now to maintain the players they've got, or Alan Pulido or William Pineda, are those players now going to leave? And I think that's absolutely fundamental now for Chivas that they keep those players, because if they can keep those players, you look towards next season and you think they can challenge for the playoffs. If they get it together, if they don't suffer loads of injuries, then they've got a team that could potentially make the playoffs. But if you suddenly get rid of Pineda and you get rid of Alan Pulido, then again you go basically going back to square one for me.
Yeah, and I think that's a team. I mean, those signings are good, and that's a step in the right direction. But I think it's a team that's still in need of good news. And whether it's fair or not, whether this good news is going to arrive through the Club World Cup, I feel like, I don't know much about Kashima Antlers, but I feel like there's probably a decent chance against them that they could potentially get a win there. That's someone who literally knows nothing about this team. But I think as long as they get that win against them and have a respectable showing against Real Madrid, then I think that's the.
Is that who we're going against the European side this time?
I thought they were going. Yeah, they're going up to they're going up to Real Madrid. I think if they win against Kashima Antlers.
Yeah.
Real Madrid aren't playing well, so every chance that Chivas can win this.
Oh, easy. There you go. Chivas got the win,
Real Madrid goes in the final against River Plate. River Plate's been traveling a lot, doesn't really take it seriously. Chivas wins.
They get banned. River Plate, you never know.
Yeah, they get banned. Yeah. Chivas fans are all gonna be there in Dubai. All right, guys. It's been a long, but definitely a very, very fun Mexican soccer show. Thank you to Amy coming on and doing everything that she does with the Mexican soccer show on all the production side in the back. Really, definitely take in and go in and put in honest answers when it comes to those to the Survey Monkey that she has, and we're gonna tweet those out. Cesar and Tom, thank you very much for joining, and all of you guys have been on the chat, been typing away. We'll see. Tell us who wins. Tweet at us. It's Cruz Azul or America, and we'll see where. See if you guys are right. But we'll have one more show at the end of, on Monday. It'll be our last show for the rest of the year. Then we take a couple weeks, and then we're actually going to have a show the Wednesday or Thursday. I think it was a Thursday that we said right before the new season start next, and that starts on the 4th of January. So right away. So this is why we took our 2 weeks right after that. So the holidays and a little bit. There's not much going on. If Chivas wins, we'll be back on. Like if Chivas wins the Club World Cup, we'll make a show out of it. It'll be funny, but probably not going to happen. So lots and lots. Thank you so much for listening us to today. All you guys that listen to us on the iTunes, we really appreciate the support. Well, it's already past almost 10 minutes past, so I'm just gonna say adios. Gracias, Cesar. Gracias, Tom. Tom, make sure you ice that eye. You know.
Stop touching it, man.
Water.
It's getting weird.
Ice, compact, and elevate is what you do.
Elevate the eye. Elevate the eye, Tom.
Elevate the eye. Hasta la próxima, muchachos. Nos vemos el lunes.